Greetings, salutations, and how do you do? I'm Voltaine Black, the only author who has ever written a book by me. I've said it before and I'll say it again. A story is just an empty stage without the characters. It should be noted that I'm not going to dive into character development in this video. That was going to be reserved for an entirely separate video because it's a very important subject. Here and today we're going to be focusing on fantasy races and creatures with which you can populate your world. First up, we've got the dwarves. These are not to be confused with people with achondroplasty, which is a real-life genetic disorder that distorts the human body. Dwarves are a race of short humanoids, often with disproportionately large heads or shoulders. The males tend to have thick facial hair. They are famous for being legendary smiths of metal and stone, as well as miners, often dwelling under the surface entirely. They lean towards the dark and caves. They also have a soft spot for song and often sing as they mine, or perhaps even whistle while they work. Also, it should be noted that they have an animosity towards goblins and elves. Elves have a wide variety of representation among fantasy literature. They are described as being tall, fair, and noble. They are often clean-shaven and generally lean towards the light and forests. They are very well known for their use of magic and are often great craftsmen of luxurious wooden objects. These elves often have animosity with dwarves. Another representation are more whimsical. These often portrayed in traditional fairy tales such as the Good Cobbler. They are extremely magical but often very playful, helping or sometimes making things a little difficult for humans. In this portrayal, they are often small and chipper, wearing bells and funny things like that. The depictions of fairies are even more numerous than those of elves. Generally considered physical manifestations of nature spirits, some of them are small and winged. Think Tinkerbell and Hippocan, weaving mischief and trouble, much like one of the representations of elves. Another depiction have the fairies of human stature and appear very much like the other description of elves, again associated strongly with magic in the forest. One special trait that fairies have that distinguishes them from elves is that they have the capability to glamour people. That is, weave intricate illusions to fool people. This can have any number of applications, from making them appear like animals, to hiding their dwellings, to making people believe that they are trapped somewhere they actually are not. Giants are a staple in fantasy and mythology. The Gigantes in Greek mythology were a race of beings stemming from Gaia herself to overthrow the gods. They were huge and powerful beings, so much so that they actually almost won and defeated the gods. Norse mythology also has many tales of giants, again, them being the primary adversary of the Norse gods. Frost and rock giants lived in the realm of Jotunheim, and their destiny was to actually defeat the gods in the final battle of Ragnarok. Giants are also mentioned in the book of Genesis, quote, "There were giants in the earth in those days," end quote, and more famously, Goliath the giant was slain by David. Giants are often common in fairy tales, most notably Jack and the Beanstalk. Goblins are a staple in the fantasy world as well. They are typically misshapen and bowed little people. They, like dwarves, are associated with the earth, living in caves and tree roots. Traditionally, they are mischievous little creatures, tormenting humans. However, in modern times, influenced by Tolkien, goblins have become much more sinister, fighting and attacking men. Unlike dwarves, goblins have little interest in things of beauty, and their crafts are often crude and dangerous. They traditionally have a rivalry with dwarves due to their tussle over territory in the underground. Orcs have been mentioned in myth before Tolkien, but mostly in describing sea beasts with sharp teeth that preyed upon whales, later evolving to mean orcas. Tolkien took this name and attributed it to a sort of super goblin. Tolkien's orcs live underground primarily, battling dwarves for caves, only coming out when the sun is not. Some later adaptations made it so that the orcs could travel during the day, but were more powerful at night. They have become a staple for an evil fantasy army. Halflings riddle all of mythology. They are often depicted as just small people, like 2 to 3 feet high, but sometimes the name actually refers to a being that is half human and half other creature. Tolkien adapted halflings into his most famous creation, the Hobbits. Small, down-to-earth beings, they enjoy the simple things of life: beer, food, and merrymaking. Merfolk, mermaids, and mermen first appear in ancient Greek myth. Triton, being the son of Poseidon, had the tail of a fish and the body of a man. His actually came to be synonymous with that of merman. Merfolk are generally characterized as human-fish hybrids and of extraordinary beauty. They also were said to be able to live completely submerged in water, but were unable to come onto land without dying. Mermaids are often dangerous to sailors, tempting them into the water with their beauty and then drowning them. Werefolk are human-beast hybrids who can shift from one form to the other under the right circumstances. Most famous are the werewolves, traditionally descendants of Laocoon, the evil wolf king of Greek lore. They traditionally change into wolves on the full moon, but other adaptations give different conditions, some even changing their transformation to being willing. There are other werefolk, such as werecats, but they are often far more rare and less seen. Lizard folk are much like merfolk. They are humanoid hybrids of humans and lizards. They have above average strength and agility than humans and are covered with tough scales. They are also generally very warlike species. They too appear scattered throughout legend, most notably Drakene of Greek myth. Now trolls do exist. They steal your
socks, but only the left ones. What's with that?
Consider trolls to be a combination of giants and goblins. They are decently large in size, but are also creatures of the earth. They are rock-like, both in durability and intelligence. They are famously malevolent and hostile towards everyone, sometimes even other trolls. Their main weakness is if they go out into the sun, they turn to stone. Due to this, they normally live in caves or under bridges where they accost goats. Gnomes are very much like dwarves. They are much more human-like though, and focus more on the agriculture of the underground, moss, fungi, and lichens, instead of mining. They often have a bit more of a connection with magic as well, much more like the more playful version of the elves. Centaurs originate in Greek mythology. They are half-breed beings, human from the waist up and horse from the waist down. In Greek mythology, they are very savage and brutal, almost barbaric. Nowadays, they have been adapted into a much more civilized race, taking on noble forest guardian roles. Gorgons originate in Greek myth. They are women with snake hair and sometimes even the snake trunk where their legs should be. Medusa, the most famous Gorgon, could turn people to stone with her gaze. They are generally considered an evil species intent on killing human heroes. Satyrs are often seen in Greek myth and are wild beings of the forest, often not partaking in drunken merrymaking. They are beings who are human from the waist up, but have goat legs. They do also have horns. They have an affinity for music and can often be seen frolicking along with the Greek god Dionysus or their own god, Pan. Now there are a wide variety of nymphs and can be found in almost every culture. They are nature spirits inhabiting trees, lakes, rivers, the sea, and plants. Botanical nymphs are often called dryads, while aquatic nymphs often take the name naiads. They vary in personality as well, some being very peaceful, while others go along with the satyrs in their drunken revelries. Banshees are of Irish origin, presumably female spirits who begin to wail when death is imminent. They are often connected with a specific family as well. They are most noted because of this wail, or the Banshee's scream. Cyclopses originate in Greek myth. They are giants with a single eye. The first Cyclopses were children of Gaia and Uranus. Later Cyclopses were either the original Cyclops' children or children of Poseidon. They are famously great craftsmen and helped the god Hephaestus in his forge. The Genie, or Jinn, literally has dozens of spellings, but they originate in Arab legends. Most are neutral beings using their magic to help whichever master they serve. They are often trapped by their masters into jewelry or rings, or most famously, a lamp. There are two specific subspecies of genies though, the Peri and the Efrets. Peri are more benevolent and prone to be good, while Efrets are more evil and dangerous spirits. Quite possibly the most iconic piece of fantasy and myth is the dragon. They are everywhere and take many different forms, the most familiar form being that of a huge flying reptile with large bat-like wings and a serpentine tail. Oftentimes they can also breathe fire as well. Most are known to hoard treasure and have developed a taste for virgins. Most dragons are extremely hard to kill, but are almost always have one vulnerable spot for the hero to find. Harpies are usually portrayed as having the head and breasts of a woman and the body of a large bird. They are chaotic creatures, destroying and devouring anything they can get their wings on. They originate in Greek mythology, where they are sent by Zeus to punish the prophet Phineas. Quite possibly the most famous underworldly being is the Hellhound. canines inhabiting the darker regions of the afterworld. Most famous are Cerberus, the three-headed hound that guards Hades. Second is Garm, the hound of the Norse goddess Hel. Next, we're going to talk about hippocampi. Now, these have nothing to do with hippopotami. Hippocampi are fish-horse hybrids. In Greek myth, they pulled the chariot of Poseidon. Numerous heroes have used these steeds throughout legend, and are most prized by the merfolk. The only concrete thing we know about the Kraken is that it is enormous and tentacly, like an octopus. Legend has that it roams the depths of the ocean, coming up occasionally to destroy ships. Some legends actually tell of two Krakens, who were created at the beginning of the world and will exist until the world ends. The Manticore is associated with Indian mythology. It has the head of a man, the body of a lion, and a spiked tail. Some say that the spiked tail is such as that of a scorpion, and others say it is simply a spiked ball. It has 3 rows of teeth and can shoot spikes from its tail. It eventually makes its way into Greek myth as well. The Minotaur originates in Greek mythology and is the son of the Queen Pasiphae and a bull. It is another hybrid humanoid being, having the body of a man with the head and shoulders of a bull. Its strength is only matched with its thirst for blood. Theseus eventually defeats it, but it still seems to pop up in numerous fantasy books, like many other supposedly dead creatures of myth. The phoenix is closely associated with the legends of the sun and fire, and appears often as a symbol of immortality, rebirth, and power. Legends have it that there is only one phoenix, but it has been seen multiple times throughout many legends. The phoenix's most known trait is that when it reaches an old age, it erupts into flames, and from those flames a new phoenix arises. Selkies are English sea fairies. They appear in the water to be seals, but can shed their skins to reveal human bodies. Selkies also supposedly can cause storms when they are angered. Sirens are said to have the bodies of birds but the heads of women, but other sources say that we have no idea what they look like because no one who has seen them has survived. They appear in Greek mythology, and their song is said to be so lovely that the sailors will throw themselves out of the boat to get to the source, and they drown before they reach there. Sphinxes are native to Greece, Babylon, and Egypt, and are said to have extreme intelligence. They have the bodies of lions, the wings of eagles, and the face and chest of a human. They are legendary for their riddles that they tell their prey in sort of a mind game before they devour them. Unicorns have many different descriptions, but the most common is a white horse with a single straight horn sprouting from its head. Legend has it that this horn can pierce anything and is used by the unicorn as a formidable weapon. The horn also has magical properties, one of the most famous being its ability to nullify poisons. The only concrete thing we know about vampires is that they drink blood. Other than that, there is a huge variety of vampire legends, some saying that they are spirits, others undead corpses, others simply humans with an appetite for blood. Numerous powers have been attributed with them, the ability to merge with shadows, shape-shifting into a bat, wolf, tick, or spider, and the ability to mesmerize. They also have a wide variety of possible weaknesses: holy water, garlic, religious symbols, or mustard seed. The most popular way to kill a vampire is to stake it in the heart, behead it, stuff the mouth with garlic, and then burn the body. Pretty extreme. The Pegasus, as most people know, is a horse with wings. Originally, there was only one Pegasus, who had sprung from the blood of Medusa after Perseus had killed her. However, from him came an entire species of flying horses that the heroes of old would ride into battle. The Griffin is again a creature that there is supposed to be only one of, but entire legendary species seem to exist as well. The Griffin has the body of a lion and the front legs, wings, and head of an eagle. It appears in a long legacy of legends. How's that for alliteration? Ranging as far back as pulling Apollo's chariot to being the steed of one of Charlemagne's knights. I hope this list and description of fantasy beasts is helpful to you in your story writing. I got a lot of them from the Writing Fantasy and Science Fiction book, so you should check that out if you like it. I also got a ton from Wikipedia, which I'm sure most of you know of already, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Peace out.